Mattys Mental Health Podcast, aiming to spread awareness on mental health by sharing the real-life stories of those who've experienced it firsthand.
Cameron O'Hanley is here today, brother. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I know I've never done this.
Pretty good.
Getting nervous.
That's okay. Don't worry about it, man. No pressure at all.
Yeah.
We're here to have fun. We're here to tell your story. You and I actually went to Holland College together briefly for a moment.
Yeah, we took a class together, I think. Maybe two.
Yeah,
One.
maybe two. If you were nutrition, I think we took nutrition.
With Keith.
Yeah. And math class, we were talking about that. That sucked. We won't say why. Let's just say it sucked. But hey,
George.
we got through it. Here we are. We got through it. Here we are. I appreciate you reaching out, wanting to come on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know a little bit about your story and some of the events that took place. I know you want to kind of tell your story before kind of the main event of your life that's happened, but you can jump right into it if you want.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk about a bit of the event. On June 17th, 2013, it was my last day of grade 11. And just finished writing my last physics exam with Miss McCauley, and
Yeah,
just finished writing that, and about 10 minutes into my summer vacation, we were driving to Subway in Stratford, turned left across the bridge, and we got T-boned by a dump truck, and like my two friends were in the front, and they turned left, and the dump truck was in his blind spot, so he hasn't seen it yet, and the dump truck hit the back part of the car where I was sitting alone in the back seat.
okay.
And my two friends walked away, and they had like no injuries, well, none that they would want to admit, because I was airlifted to Halifax in a coma for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's the main event, and I'll just talk a bit about my life before that happened, and then I'll get back into more details about my accident and recovery. And so before the accident, I had a pretty successful, I was a well-rounded student, athlete, and like I was a pretty sociable guy. Like I got along with most people, and there wasn't too many people that I've had negative relationships with. Like I've just been very fortunate that way. But all my life, like I grew up with 4 parents. My parents broke up when I was born, and they both remarried when I was a toddler. And like I've had 4 parents my whole life basically, and just a lot of love, and 4 siblings, 2 on each side, and here we are. And I was on the Canada Games soccer team. In 2013, the Canada Games are in August, and my accident happened in June. So we've been training for like 2 years up until this point, I think. And the Canada Games team actually played a huge role in my like recovery, and like they helped out a lot. Like they did a lot of fundraisers just for my hospital bills and my parents' expenses, because my parents were living in Halifax for 2 months, because I stayed in Halifax for 2 months, and my mom didn't leave a single day, and I think my dad went back like 1, maybe 2 days to back to his own family for a bit. Yeah. Yeah, so my accident, and so waking up from the coma isn't like you see in the movies. It isn't like you wake up and then you just process what happens. Like waking up was like I had to basically relearn how to do everything. Like because of my brain injury, I couldn't talk. I was basically a vegetable for the first few weeks, and I think I started to get out my wheelchair and started to like communicate more clearly in like 3-4 weeks after, and yeah, I was in the intensive care unit. I don't remember that at all, and then I went to the infirmary, and yeah, I basically only have one memory of that place, and that was my recreational therapist Tammy, and like she was like 26 at the time, and I was 17, and it was like all those hormones that a teenager have, like double that. Like I was just like basically in love with this Tammy girl, and like like it was so funny. I remember. I don't remember a lot. I remember like a lot of good memories, but I can't pinpoint exact ones except for this one conversation we had. I asked her how old she was, and she said 26, and I said, "Don't worry, you're not too old for me." And yeah,
just in case you were worried.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll come back for you. Anyway, after being in the infirmary for a while, not a lot of memories. I remember quite a bit of being transferred over to the Halifax rehab, and I remember my physiotherapist, Mark McKenzie. He was like by far like the best physiotherapist I think there is and that I've ever had, and I think I had physio like twice a day, and he was constantly adapting because like I was an athlete all my life, and he would give me an exercise and I'd do 3 sets of it, and then I'd be done with that. He's like, okay, we need to move on to something harder, and he would continuously do that, and like I definitely improved so much quicker because of him, like physically, and I was in there for about a month, I think, and then mid-August, it was time for me to go home from Halifax, and everything up until that point was being like documented online. Like they had like a Facebook page for me, like called Prayers for Cameron, and like they had that since like the first day, I think, and like my whole recovery was easy at first. Like it just came so natural to me. Like I just love to be in the recovery. Like I wasn't down on myself like a lot. Like I had my bad days, but I was just always raring to go, like excited to get better. Like I just loved the process of of being challenged by that awesome physiotherapist. And the physiotherapist actually moved to PEI because his girlfriend was from PEI, I think, and I joked with him and saying he's just following me around, and
Yeah.
and and then okay, I got back like August 16th. I think I looked up the dates like not too long ago, and I stressed to my family to not put anything online about me being home, because the Canada Games team got home on the 18th, so on a Sunday, and I got home Friday, and so nothing was posted online, and then I showed up at the airport whenever they were coming in, and I was in my wheelchair, and I had a sign that said 6th place, not bad, I guess, but you would have got 3rd if I was there, and like just like, yeah, like the sign didn't really make a difference. They looked at it after and laughed, but whenever they first got there, I stood up from my wheelchair, and I hugged every single member of that team. Like I was like clinging to them for balance, and as well as just being so happy to see them. Like,
Right.
yeah, they were a big part. They were a big part of my recovery initially, and like I'm still friends with every single member of the team. Like we may have lost in touch, but like if anyone reached out to me, I'd be their best friend immediately. Like it's just that kind of a brotherhood that we had. And
So were you guys like training together for 2 years, like that group?
yeah.
Wow.
I think the group may have it had cuts along the way, but like all of us were together for 2 years, and I don't know if it's 2 years exactly or a year and a half, but anyway, it was an exciting time. I thought I was gonna go to the Canada Games, but instead I got to go to Halifax in a helicopter, and the downside of that, I was in a coma for the helicopter, and I've always wanted to fly in a helicopter. That's been like a dream of mine, and I found out as it flew over in a helicopter. I'm like, come on, can they at least send me home in one so I can remember it this time? Oh my goodness, yeah. I got back to PEI, transferred over to QEH Hospital for a month, and then I was discharged. And then I was like working with my occupational therapists and physiotherapists and speech therapists. Like I had them all. I had all of the, because like I still wasn't like talking like the normal me, like, but I had like, I don't know, it was not a stutter, but just I can't even describe it.
Like a slur,
Yeah,
kind of.
a little bit, and like just talking a lot slower and yeah, but that's not important. But and I started jogging way back then, and I asked my friends to run with me in a 5K, 5 kilometer race, and we did it at the BI marathon weekend. We like walked a 5K in like 40 minutes. So like 4 months after an accident that kept me in a wheelchair for 2 months, I ran in a 5K, which I'm extremely proud of. And
Yeah,
like
man.
like looking back on it, it almost like doesn't seem real, because like after my initial discharge, I ended up going back to the hospital in 2014, and like my brain just wasn't right, and like at the QAH hospital, they weren't treating me correctly for a traumatic brain injury. That, I don't know, they just don't have the resources or the knowledge. I don't know exactly, but my parents and the doctors found this place in Toronto, and it was so in 2014 I tried to go back to grade 12, took like 2 classes, and memories of those classes are very few and far between, because my brain couldn't handle the new knowledge, I guess, because I was in and out of the ER, I was told, and in and out of the ER, and then I ended up being admitted into Unit 9, the psychiatric ward. That was my first trip there, first trip of many actually over the years, and I just didn't have a good time there at all. Like I wasn't socializing with anybody. I was just laying in my bed and like eating when I had to, and like just barely participating in the group work, because I don't even remember this, but I just remember thinking I was in there for months. Like that's how long it felt. But I found out after the fact that I was only in there for a couple weeks, and I'm like, wow, time really dragged on in there, and I was in there for a couple weeks, and then I transferred from Unit 9 to Unit 7, the rehab unit, and I had a good time there. Met some cool people. I remember Brandon, and I remember Caitlin, and there's quite a few other names that come to mind, but those are the 2 main ones that I remember. But I was in Unit 7 for I'd say like 6 months. Like I was just in physio, speech, and occupational therapy, and like I was in physio twice a day, because they knew I loved to be active, and
So what? Sorry to cut you off, but
yeah.
what? So you go from a wheelchair,
Yeah.
initially, and then you build you all the way up to the 5K.
Yeah.
So what, like during this whole process, like after, like what symptoms were you having physically, and I guess mentally too?
Yeah, like, and it wasn't a lot of physical, like it was all mental. It was just like I said, I ran on a 5K, so it's not like I needed to be in there for any physical reasons. Like there, like I was only in physio just to basically pass by my time, and like I wasn't in there to change anything. Like my right side of my body was like weakened, so like, but I've strengthened it over the years, and anyway, I was in Halifax. I was in where was I?
You're in Unit 7?
Yeah, I went from Unit 9 to Unit 7. I was in there for like 6 months, and in the summer months, they contacted this place in Ontario called NRIO, Neurological Rehabilitation Institute of Ontario, and I ended up, we were talking quite a bit back and forth, and I ended up going there in September, maybe October, and like they're like a top-notch facility. Like they're like rated like the #1 rehab center in Canada for traumatic brain injury, and like they really knew their stuff. Like I don't have a lot of memories of that place, but like all the memories I do have are just really positive, and like the care that goes into each and every one of the workers just it was just phenomenal. Like they had like a doctors I meet with once a month, and they change up my medication depending on how all the rehab workers said I was behaving and stuff. Like they were really good at their job, all of them. Like I ended up feeling more like the real me again, and after few weeks, I think we found this school right down the road. It was an adult education school, and there were 2 age groups. There was like it was called advanced, but it was for like people just out of high school to like 22, and then there was adult, like 23 and up. But so like I was in high school. It felt like a high school because it was all young kids, and they had what's called quadmesters, and that is it's taking a full semester's worth of works and like jamming it into 9 weeks, like half the time, like is a normal semester, and that was really hard. But like I got the 4 credits. I had 16 credits for my grade 10 11 years, and then I just needed 20 to graduate, and I got the 4 in Ontario, and we were able to transfer those credits back to PEI, and like I was in a hospital setting for basically 2 years, and I only graduated high school 1 year late, which is another thing I'm really proud of that happened. And
Yeah, that's awesome,
yeah,
man.
like yeah. So I was in Ontario from October to May, and I like went to a few Raps games, a few Leafs games, and just a bunch of other stuff. Like I was in an indoor beach volleyball league in the winter, and like it was like this huge facility. There was like 3 volleyball courts, like 4 full-size soccer fields, and there's like a hockey rink. Like people were playing ball hockey in like a full-size hockey rink. Like this building was massive. It's like the size of Charlottetown.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
awesome.
Yeah, it was so much fun playing beach volleyball. It was just with a bunch of people that like we're just there for recreational purposes, and like it was so much fun, and I just have so many fond memories of Ontario, and yeah.
That was probably like, so that's the first time you kind of play sports again?
Yeah, like, but like, I didn't think I was ever going to be competitive again, and then I went to Holland College in the fall, I went to Holland College in the fall, and I wasn't planning on playing any sports. And then my Canada Games coach is actually the coach of the Holland College Hurricanes team, Jonathan Voss, and he asked me. He was like, Cameron, do you want to come practice with the team? And at first I was like, initially I thought like, no, I don't want any reminders of how bad I am at soccer. And then my just my personality was like, I don't want to say no to him, and just like, I'm like, okay, I'll try it out. Bought a cheap pair of cleats, came out, and gradually fell in love with soccer again. And it was a really good team, and they really welcomed me in. And like, I went to all the like Sunday fun days, like the soccer parties, and everybody treated me like I was on the team, and it felt really, really good to be on a team like that again. And yeah.
That's awesome, man. So what do you remember? Like, what kind of rehabilitation stuff they were doing at the Ontario facility?
I don't remember a whole lot, but I remember like I just had the basic physiotherapy and occupational therapy. I don't think they had speech there. I don't think. No, just but like they were really good at their jobs, and they knew what they were doing, and like just the rehab workers were really, really, really good at like communicating like how we were behaving and all that. And they would tell the doctor, and the doctor would make tweaks necessary for the adjustments, and they would be like constantly like updating, like just giving me medication for what I needed, and they gave me exactly what I needed to have a successful year at Holland College, 2015, 2016, and fell in love with soccer again. And after that year of Holland College, I took an open academic studies course, which is basically just like take whatever entry courses you want. And at first I got there, and the program is like taught by one teacher, and I found that out, and I was like, no, I don't want to feel like I'm in elementary school again. Can I be in the same classes, but can you put me in like different classes? And because I went to them so quick, we managed to do it, and thank God. I don't think I would have lasted the year if I was at the same teacher all year. No offense to her. I forget the teacher's name, but
Right. Yeah.
but like yeah. But I had a really successful year. I took a nutrition course I really liked. Keith Tanton was a teacher, and he just made nutrition like easy to understand, and like I really liked how I felt about that class. And after that year, I decided to go to UPEI to take the food and nutrition course. And my first year trying to do that, I had to get my wisdom teeth out the second day of school. So I took out all 4 wisdom teeth, and I tried to go back to school before I was ready, and I just ended up like, I was like so frustrated with myself, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to take this semester off and come back in January. And I did that, and I came back in January. I think it was my only successful semester. I think I had 1 or 2 maybe in like 3 years, and like they all have their own reasons for not doing well, but
Right. So you go to, so you complete that semester that year.
yeah. And then I tried to go back the next fall, and
Was this 2017?
this is 2016 now.
2016?
2016, we just trying to remember. There's a lot of memories up there, so gotta filter through them. 2016. Oh yeah, I had my first real heartbreak, like first week of 2016, and Oh yeah, that combined with the wisdom teeth being removed. That was why I took that semester off. So yeah, you're right. This is 2017 now, but at the start of 2017, the UPEI coach Lewis Page knew the Team Canada coach for the Paralympic soccer team, and he emailed him, and they were talking, and Drew came here to watch me practice with the UPEI team, and he liked what he saw, and I started training with the national team, Paralympic soccer team in March, and we probably trained monthly right up until August, and then in September we went away to Argentina, which was an amazing experience, and probably the worst experience at the same time because I ended up getting really sick down there. I wasn't on the right medication at all. I had like Gravol and sleeping pills, and they were like, it got really bad down there. Like I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't listening to anything people were telling me. I was just in my own world of pain, and I was like delirious, and the plane ride was like too much for my brain to handle, and I went to I ended up I went down there. I was with the team, and I remember like the first week or so, and and then I just blacked out, like just not unconscious blacked out. I was so manic that I couldn't. My brain shut out that part of my memories, and like I just remember waking up in the hospital all of a sudden, and my dad was there, and I was just taken aback. My dad didn't come down there at the start, and I was like, "Dad, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "I've been down here for 2 weeks," and I'm just like at this point in the hospital, my soccer team all went back to Canada. They were flying home, and I was with them, and they told me at the airport that I was unfit to fly home. I don't blame them because like who knows what that plane ride would have did to me, like, if the first one messed me up in that way. And so I went to the hospital in Argentina, and they had an amazing medical team. It was really good because like they live, breathe, and eat soccer down there, and I was like, that was like part of like the physio stuff. Like they were doing like soccer drills with me and different like, and like I just remember everything being so open. Like we can come and go as we please as long as you're on time for our appointments, and like, oh, I remember having the time of my life that last week in Argentina. Like I was being toured around by my translator and her family, and they like took us in, and it was just a really good experience. And at the end, we had like a big dinner of of everyone like that was involved with my situation, like my translator, her family, and my physio team, and they all like knew each other, and it was just, and like they kissed each other in the cheeks. That's their way of, and I'm like, oh cool, I'm gonna bring them back to BEI, and I start doing that, and like, yeah, that was my thought process when I was down there. But then I got back and I'm like, no, I'm not. Then nobody's gonna dig that. Yeah. They can't just change the culture of BEI. Anyway,
Maybe
back.
You could, man. One kiss at a time.
Yeah, I'll start with you right now.
We'll do it after.
Yeah, yeah. Camera doesn't need to see that.
No.
Anyway, yeah, I got back from Argentina. I was like, oh man, Argentina is awesome. I'm gonna like train for soccer. I'm gonna go back and play professionally, and like I've always had those like way out of reach goals that are like that are like impossible to reach, but I would still aim for them because like I know like that I heard the expression once, like, aim for the moon, and if you miss, you'll land among the stars, something like that. And I'm taking that to heart, and like, I'm like I've always, like, growing up as a kid, I wanted to be a professional hockey player. Like, even in like Bantam, I played like house league my first year, and I was like, I'm still going to the NHL. Like, doesn't matter in house league. I'm like one of the best players in house league. So, meanwhile, the AAA players are like, I think now, like, I think one made it to the show that's my age. I think Zach McEwen. He's doing well for himself over in Vancouver, I believe, and my second year at Bantam, I played on my first AAA hockey team, and that experience was just amazing. Like, we were all friends on that team. We won pretty much every game, and we went away to Atlantics, and we played Newfoundland in the round robin, and I think we tied them or just barely lost to them, and then we beat every other team, and we beat them. We met Newfoundland again in the finals, and we're like, okay, we have a really good chance of this. And then I don't even remember what, like, but it just went so wrong. Like, they beat us like 6-0 or 6-1, and like you know, second best team in Atlantic Canada. We'll take that. We can say we were the best team in the Maritimes. So that's what we'll say. Yeah, and on that team we had a bunch of big names that eventually they went on to play the Q, University, and Junior A, and I don't know where all of them ended up, but like it was just a really tight knit group of guys that brings back a lot of memories playing hockey. I haven't played hockey since I was second year Bantam, so that's just before high school. So that's, what am I, 14 then? I don't know, around there. But after my 1 year AAA hockey, I'm like, okay, I think I want to finish on like a good note and like focus on soccer, because that's right around the time the Canada Games team started, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna really focus on soccer and being the best I can be at soccer. And I did fairly well for myself in soccer. I made Team Atlantic in I can't remember what year, but it was U15 and U16. I just had we were with a provincial team that I've trained with every year, and we would go away to Atlantics, and then they'd have a Team Atlantic coach and a couple of assistant coaches, and they'd watch all the games, and they'd just basically handpick 4 or 5 guys from each province, and like I'd say between 3 and 5 from PEI, Newfoundland, and New Brunswick, and the rest was in Nova Scotia, because they were very strong and they had a lot of good players. And so I played Team Atlantic, U15, U16, and then U17 was when I was on the Canada Games team, and trained there for so long. I was like so committed and dedicated to soccer. I was just like, I was talking to university coaches, and like Dal, like St. FX, I was just emailing them and like telling them my playing history and if they could come watch me. And then I'm on the Canada Games team as well, and I don't really have many memories of that. Like, I remember wanting to go away for university at first, just because I wanted to live on my own and really see what it meant to be an actual adult living on their own. But I've had many different definitions of actual adult over the years, and I still don't feel like I'm an actual adult even at 23.
I feel you.
Now, but
relate to that.
I moved out of my parents' place with my girlfriend just a few months ago, and like I just feel like really good about it, and it's just it that makes me feel like I'm an actual adult, like doing grocery shopping and all that, and paying bills and all the grown up stuff that a lot of you probably know of.
Yeah.
And yeah. So I don't even know where I was in my story, but
Yeah, man, you're talking about so you tried to university for a bit.
yeah, and the I'll go back to talking about the Paralympic stuff. Yeah, I guess I talked about most of that. Just yeah, we trained monthly, and then when I made Argentina, and I talked about that. And
So, like, what symptoms were you dealing with, and like throughout that first year, 2 years?
after my accident,
Yeah.
I can't really explain the symptoms, but like I can try. It's like I had this spacey look to me. Like I wouldn't look at you, I'd look through you. As I don't know how I looked then, but like I've seen a couple people like go through that now, and it's like, oh, that's what I look like. And like memories were just gone. Like I had absolutely zero short-term memory. And like I just remember this one story with my dad's family. We just finished having like a big meal, and like part of like one of my symptoms of, I don't know what the word is, but one of the symptoms of the medication I was taking was I couldn't feel full. I didn't feel full. So we just finished having a big meal. My stepmom was out doing something, and then she came back after we just finished the meal. So I got up, put my plate in the dishwasher, stood up, turned around, looked at my stepmom putting food on her plate, and I looked at her and said, "Oh, is that what we're having for supper?" And my family's just like, Cameron, you just ate. Like, like that's how bad my short-term memory was. Like,
Right.
Like, yeah, it's hard to describe. The majority of my recovery, I felt like nothing was wrong with me, and like I was like, this is normal. This is like, anybody goes through this stuff, and I was just like in denial about having bipolar disorder, and like what's what I was explained to me once, that I had organic bipolar disorder, which basically just means bipolar like symptoms caused by a traumatic event. And because I heard that definition once, and that's what I had, like I would carry that with me for years. I was just like, okay, my accident happened 3 years ago. I don't have bipolar anymore. And like I'm just coming to the fact that, okay, yeah, I have bipolar, and it may not ever leave, and like I'm on the right medication now, and like for the first time since like 2015, I'm beginning to feel like the real me again. Like I'm like exercising, eating healthy, sleeping, and going to school, and hopefully gonna be working soon. And I don't know where I'm gonna work, but I'd like to work at Juice Co. I applied there, and I'm waiting to hear back. And I actually heard do you know Sam Hughes? Like, he was in your grade, and
Yeah.
his mom actually owns that, I believe.
Yeah.
And I heard she was in the hospital from like a concussion, and I dropped my mom off at the hospital at work, and I actually went in and went to go see if she was there in Unit 7, and I bought a couple treats, and I was gonna bring her down one, and just cause like I've been in her shoes, like I've like in the hospital due to a brain injury that's like has my name written all over it, because like I didn't talk about my trips to Unit 9, but like I think like after my initial time I went in there 2014, I was in there. I was back there, I think, annually. It was almost like clockwork. I was just, and like just quick trips. And then in 2017, when I blacked out in Argentina, I came back. I was like, okay, I'm going to train for soccer. And I was out of the hospital. I was like, I like wasn't sleeping. I was like overtraining, and then just like I was being really manic. And they tricked me back into the hospital. They said, Cameron, your doctor just wants to see you quick in the hospital. He's working in the ER. So like, okay, I'll go see him. I'm fine though, because I'm like training to make it back to Argentina to play professional soccer there. So and that I went to the emergency room where I thought my doctor was working, and I saw someone else that was my doctor. I'm like, wait a minute. And they're kind of like, okay, we're admitting you into Unit 9. I'm like, no, I need to train for soccer. You can't be in Unit 9. And I still kept up the training in Unit 9 for probably a couple weeks. I had like a soccer ball in my room, and I go out to the air and juggle it and dribble it around. And in my head, I was still going to go back to Argentina. And and then slowly the Unit 9 just wore down on me, and I ended up staying there for I got back from Argentina in September, and I was in in Charlottetown for a couple weeks, and just not sleeping and just training, and that's it. And then I ended up back in Unit 9, and I was training for soccer for the first couple weeks, and then I ended up in there till just before Christmas. And in my mind, I was still going to UPI, and like the 2 successful semesters. And I woke up in 2018 for the first day, and all motivation for everything just disappeared. And I woke up and my alarm like, oh, I'm not gonna go today. I'll go back tomorrow. And then the next day came, and the same thing happened. And I'll go the next day, and then so many days went by. I was like, okay, I'm not going this semester. And no, 2018 was a really rough year for me. It was really long, and like I think I got a couple jobs over the months. They didn't last longer than a week, and there was just jobs that like I wasn't interested in at all. Like I remember I was working on like the fish plant, and like it was like a 20-minute drive away, and like I was there for like a day, and like I was just like, why am I doing this? And I'm miserable. Like I'm just standing on my feet sorting through garbage and fish, and I don't even know. But anyway, I had a couple of the jobs that were just as pleasant as that one, and 2018 the fall of 2018, I met my girlfriend. We actually went to high school together. She was a grade younger than me, and I didn't know her. I was pretty but she knew who I was, and we ended up matching on a dating app. Isn't that how all couples meet now? And like like it was just a way of life. But like I matched with a lot of girls over the years, but like it was just like I was like using it to like meet people and see like if anything, like, and a lot of people don't use it for that reason, so nothing really lasted. And then I met Harley, and then everything changed, and in the fall of 2018, I met her, and I also started working for Skip the Dishes, which was a really good experience. And
So you're delivering food?
yeah, delivering food, just going to different restaurants, and like it was a really cool hour system. You can put in whatever hours you want to work, like 10 to 10, I think the hour, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. and I think maybe later, I don't know. They probably changed it since I've worked there. Like I worked there like right at the start, so it was like new, and like everybody liked doing it, and like I loved it. Like I loved going to each restaurant, interacting with the managers, and telling them what number I had, and then it was all based on an app. Like it would just tell me each step and what to do. Like go to this restaurant, and like the only confusing thing was sometimes like there's 2 Wendy's locations. I would just see Wendy's and go to the Wendy's that was closest to me, and I went there and they said, no, we don't have that number. I'm like, what is going on? It's possible it's in Wendy's. And then like they're like, oh, the Wendy's on Grafton. I'm like, oh, that one. Okay. Gonna be a bit late, but it was a really good experience for me. And 2019 came and my insurance expired. So I called my insurance company and I asked them for like updated papers because I needed it for Skip the Dishes. And they're like, wait, you work for Skip the Dishes? And I'm like, yeah. And like, we can't insure you anymore. We're only like we don't insure people that are driving their car commercially for business. And found that out. I'm like, okay, I'll go look at a couple companies and see who does insurance. And like I was paying like bare minimum for insurance before, and I looked at the commercial and it was like, I can't remember what the number was, but like it was like more than I was getting paid because like it was just getting off the ground, right? So it's probably more popular now, but when I started, it was, yeah, it wasn't making a whole lot of money. It was just fun to do every now and then. But after my insurance company made me put it in writing that I was no longer working for Skip the Dishes, and 2019 came, and 2019 was also a rough year for me. And 2019, yeah.
So you unfortunately can't work at the job,
Yeah.
Skip the Dishes anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, I met my girlfriend Harley in the fall, and then everything was great, and we we're just 2 kids just falling for each other, and we're like really compatible. Like we didn't even know each other for a full year, and we moved in together like that. And I thought I was never gonna move out of my parents' place, so so she helped kickstart that out of me. Like she got me out of my own and living with her, and it's just been like I had a bunch of little siblings, so like growing up in my house would be, I don't know if stressful is the right word, but like high energy a lot, and it was just loud all the, like most of the time, and but like moving out with just my girlfriend, and like it's so quiet, and we're just 2 chill people, and we just yeah, I've been really enjoying my time, and moved out in the fall, and I started like 2019 January came, and then my birthday came in March, and the dark thoughts started to come back, and I've had a lot of dark thoughts over the years, like there would be weeks, months, like where like I wouldn't remember having a good thought. Like they were just all dark, and they started to come back in 2019. And somebody told me about somebody who jumped off the Queen Street Barricade and killed themselves, and I heard that, and my the dark thoughts were coming in right around that time, and I was like a constant battle in my mind. It was just all it was one part of me telling me like, Cameron, go to the Queen Street Barricade, like just end it. You're like, it'll just be all better if you just end it right now. Like, you won't have to feel any more pain. And I was like, and then another part of me would be like, no, Cameron, don't be an idiot. But that went on for weeks in March, and my good friend, he confronted me, and he's been there for me. Like, we both have brain injuries, and we met through therapy, and we became good friends quickly. And I would start working for him, and then we both went to Holland College at the same time. We really got along, and 2015 Holland College was a really good year for me. He knows that, and I know that. And then after that, when things started tail spinning, like I said before, in the 2016 to 2018, 29, I've up until 2019, I probably went to Unit 9, like I said, annually a while ago, and I went in 2019, and I was in there for like a week or so, and then the doctor said, okay, we're gonna discharge you now. And one part of me was like, what? No, I just got here, and I wasn't drinking alcohol. Like, I didn't have any alcohol or drug problems, so like they almost like kind of like dismissed me and just like, we're trying to get in another bed. And I did this. I can't even remember my mind telling me to do this stuff. I just did them, and like it like knocked me back a couple levels. Like I left the unit in Unit 9. They like keep you in a locked part of the hospital, and I remember sitting by the door and like inside the room and I was like, okay, whenever somebody leaves the room, I'm gonna open the door, and I'm gonna run up to the third floor and then jump off the stairs. That was my mindset. Like, I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. And the first person that went out the door, I tried to follow him, and the door closed and it was locked. But like the person with like the snack cart was right there, and she opened it with her key, and I held the door open for her, and she said thank you, and I'm like, no, thank you. And I like ran out, and I think one of the workers followed me, and I went up to the third floor, and the worker was right behind me, and that voice in my head that would tell me to commit suicide. Like, I also had another deeper part of my voice that would tell me not to do it. And I got up to the top floor, and he's like, Cameron, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm going to see my mom. And they're like, Cameron, it's Sunday, she doesn't work. I'm like, oh, right. And then I walked back to the stairs, I looked down them, and she was right there, and I was just like, I was gonna jump off and so they didn't end up discharging me. I did that, and I also they do like nightly checkups every night, and they do like nightly checkups, and like they shine a flashlight in, and it just really annoyed me. And then I was like, okay, after the next checkup, I'm going to hide behind the door. And I took off all the blankets, off the sheets, off my bed, and like opened the bathroom door to show I wasn't in there, and turned on the light there, and I was just hiding behind the door. And they're like, they saw I wasn't there, and they looked for me for probably half an hour, and I was standing behind the door, like doing like a salute, like army salute, like just, it was like, I don't remember thinking anything. I just did them, and I ended up being I told myself I was gonna tell my story just in chronological order, and I'd tell a story and then tell part of the story, and then that would bring me to a completely other random place. And yeah, but I'm planning on writing a novel about my whole recovery, and that'll be a lot easier to stay on track, because like I like talking. I thought it'd be good for telling my story, but I'm really jumping around from thing to thing and just not really going in the order I originally wanted to. But
That's totally fine, man.
yeah,
Totally fine.
yeah. But I'm upgrading my English class, because like my English mark was like lower than a 65, because it was like back when I was in Ontario, I didn't do great because it was like a really intense course. It was like I had like hours that I had to work on. Or I was working on homework hours nightly, and I got like a 57 in the course. And for the program I wanted to do this fall, dental assisting, I needed a 65 in English. So I'm upgrading my English right now, and we did a 2-3 page informal essay, and I wrote about my accident, my recovery, and the words just came flying off my pen onto the paper. And like, I was never like that for English. Like I would always struggle what to write about. But now that I feel like I have something to talk about, I feel like I have something to talk about with my accident, and I've told the story so many times over the years, and I thought this would go fairly easily, like it would just be able to, but I'm not good at. I didn't prepare myself for this. I should have, but I was just like, yeah, I can talk about my accident for hours. And
No, that's totally fine, man. And I think you're hitting all the main points, and like, man, it's a wild story, man.
Yeah, it's that's an understatement, I think.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, but
I'm not sure what the word to use.
Yeah, no, neither am I. But like over the years, I've met other people that have been through accidents like mine, and I would never ever compare anyone's car accident to my own. I like, somebody gets in a car accident and they hurt their elbow, like fractured maybe their elbow. I'm like, I don't remember, but like I would be like, oh yeah, well I've been through hell and back with my accident. You didn't experience nothing. Like, no, I would never think that, or my mind would just go like, oh man, what can I do to help? Like I just like I met multiple people over the years, and they can always reach out to me for anything they need to talk about, and that goes for anyone that hasn't been in car accidents. Like I'm like, just anybody that's going through any difficulties at all with anything, like just add me on Facebook and just send me a message. Like I just hate to see people in pain, and I just want to help, and like I feel like I have so much to say, but I feel like I have too much to say, and like I feel like writing my novel will be a lot easier because I can see everything I've written down and I can put it in an order that I want, and and just have everything on paper and make edits to it. And I'm hoping to finish the content of my novel by like spring, the end of spring, summer, and then I'm hopefully gonna by the end of summer I wanna like publish it and like make it a proper book. That's what I plan on doing, but I it might just be a short story I share with family and friends. I don't know, but like I don't have any like the dreamer part of me says like, oh yeah, you're gonna be a best New York Times bestselling author, and like you're gonna write one autobiography, and you're gonna be like J.K. Rowling, and and then there's another part of me is like, okay, Cameron, like you're you might make it a short novel that you share with family and friends, and then their friends might inquire about it, and just I'm just really excited because the 2-3 page formula essay just came so easily to me, and and I can communicate myself properly when I'm writing, and I can see what I wrote. But like as far as talking goes, like if you've listened to this far in the podcast, you'll notice me jumping back and forth between this time and that time, and like my mind it just feels really scattered whenever I'm just talking, and I thought I could articulate myself well, and anyway.
Yeah, man. Listen, don't worry about it at all. Like I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story, and you know, you really spoke from the heart, and I think you said, you know, things that came to your mind that mattered. I guess the only question I have is,
Okay.
no worries. Where does that bring you to now? How are you doing now?
No, I feel like I'm doing really well now. I just finished at the Reach Foundation, and they're like a back to work training program. Like most people either go back to work or go back to post-secondary education, and that's where I got the idea where I wanted to do the dental assisting, like just a 1-year program. Then I'll get into an in-demand career, and after a couple of years, I've always wanted to go back to Toronto and live there for a little while, and but right now I'm doing really well. I'm like eating and sleeping really, really good, and like those seems like basic things, but like both of those things haven't come easily to me, like since my car accident. Like it's like I'd have months where I do good, and then months where I like feel like I wouldn't sleep I'd sleep like probably the amount someone sleeps in one day. Like I'd sleep that amount in 1 week. Like
Wow.
like just like an hour or two maybe a night, and I would just feel so restless some nights, and me being the person I am, I wouldn't want to. I just put it behind me and try and get on with my life, and I feel like there's been a cloud or a fog like just around me, and now that I've went through that Reach Foundation, and I'm on the right medication, along with like a consistent routine of a 8 to 4 job Monday to Friday, and I just feel like a new man. I think for the first time I feel like I'm a man. I feel like an actual adult. Like like I can't explain it, but better than that. But yeah,
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
Happy for you.
And yeah, I'm looking for work. Just work to save up for the dental assisting I want to do, and gonna do that. I'm hopefully gonna do that for a couple of years after I finish school, and then maybe move to Toronto, be a dental assistant there, and then I want to take a dental hygiene, stay in the field if I do like the field anyway. But I think I will. But the hygienists make a little bit more, and they're a little bit more schooling. But I found a good program in Ontario, and hopefully I'll get to realize my dream and live in Ontario again, and in Toronto, and
Go to that sportsplex. Play all the sports in under one roof. It sounds like.
Yeah, I have to go back there, and yeah.
How long did it take for you to find the right medication? Was that kind of a long process for you?
Very long. But I feel like my need for medication, it wouldn't stay the same at all. Like different stages of my recovery, I needed a different medication, and it's like bipolar disorder runs in my family, and like I think I may have had it anyway before. I was just kept too busy with school, work, and everything, and school and work and
Sports.
Yeah, sports. Sports was the biggest part of my life. I don't know why I left that out, but
It took a while to find the right
oh
meds.
yeah, yeah. I felt like I was on the right meds in like 2015 when I was going to Holland College. That was my most successful year since my car accident, and 2015, and I feel like 2020 this year, I feel like I'm gonna surpass my successful year in 2015. Like I just feel like really like on the ball and really like alert and quick and just thinking like I used to think, and like I have like goals and aspirations, and like I just
Feeling better?
yeah, feeling a lot better. And like I'm starting to feel like I did before my car accident, which is saying a lot because I felt like that over the years, but I wouldn't feel like that consistently. Like but like I've been like on a track where it's like, okay, yeah, you're doing well, Cameron. Like, but I need to like find a place where I'm not complacent. Like I can't be like, okay, yeah, I recovered. Like I feel like I'm always gonna want to be in a stage where it's like, okay, yeah, you're in your next stage of recovery. Like I just feel like that's how I want to live my life. I'm always striving for more. I think Matthew McConaughey accepted an award once, and he was like, somebody influential came into my life and asked me, who's your idol, or who do you and he was like, I really respect this person, so I'm like, give me a few days, and let me think about it. And he came back and he said, it's me in 10 years, and that person was still in his life, and he came back 10 years later. So his hero. Who's your hero? My hero is me in 10 years. And he came back to him 10 years later. So I'm like, so are you your hero yet? And he's like, not even close. I'm like, my hero is me in 10 years. So like, it was always it's always 10 years out of reach that he's striving to be like. So like, that's a really positive outlook, I think, to always like stay like, to always like
Be striving for more, striving for better.
Striving for more. That's the way I lived a lot of my life as a kid, and just wanting to do wanting to do I remember 2010, I think, I was like, okay, I'm gonna make the Olympics for track and field in 2012. But I haven't run other than the cross country, if you recall. But I was like, okay, I'm gonna work hard now, and that'll get pushed back, and so on and so forth. And I feel like that's when I had a fairly successful athletic career in my life for the average person. Just just mostly with soccer, making those Team Atlantic teams, and then making the Canada Games team a year underage, and soccer was a big part of my life. And
So you were always striving for more, even at a young age.
Yeah, but now I feel it's even more important to always, maybe my hero is me in 2 years, and it's always 2 years away. You're just trying to be better than you were yesterday. That's a better way of putting it. It's just some days you're gonna have off days, but then the next day you just want to be better than that off day. And then it's just.
I think that's such a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
Such a positive mentality to have. Just get better each day.
Yeah, some days are gonna come and they're gonna be really bad, and I haven't had a bad day in months now. I'm just full. I feel like I'm full of life and full of love, and just I just want to be as involved as I can in every part of life. I just want to experience everything I can, and at the same time, I also want to train to be a runner, and then the dreamer part of me comes alive and is okay, you're going to be a runner, and you're also going to be a soccer player, and you're also it's just a bunch of out of reach goals. But those out of reach goals are was my mindset growing up, because you're always reaching for more, right? But ever since I heard that Matthew McConaughey quote, and I'd forget about it every now and then, but then I'd come back to it. I was oh yeah, okay, I just want to be me in 2, 5, 10 years, whatever my mindset was at. But I just feel like that's a good way to live, and even if your hero is a month away, just keep it at that number, and just always strive to be better than you were, kind of thing, and in most aspects of your life, and good things are sure to follow after just in a state of constant need for improvement. And and another thing, other than wanting to always be better, you have to fall in love with the process. You can't be too focused on the outcome. You can't be okay, because then if you do that and you get there and you're okay, so now what? And I feel like that's the case for a lot of people if they're too outcome dependent. You just have to. You should strive to be yourself. The better version of you in a month, and then the month goes by and you still want to be better than you were yesterday, and you want to strive to be yourself in a month or a year, or it's just.
No, I think that's super important, because I think the process is it's super important to, like you said, fall in love with it. I think we put so much pressure on ourselves on the outcome that you don't even get there, because it's it's really big in the fitness industry. People always say it's common for people to put unrealistic goals super quick. I'm gonna
Yeah.
Work out every day.
Run
And,
a 4-minute mile.
yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they like just go all out for 2 days and like oh, screw this, right? But
Yeah.
it's just like slow, sustainable, and like falling in love with the process. I love how you said that because,
Yeah.
you know, that's how life goes. It's really just the process. And then once you
Yeah.
get there, you just like, I can keep going because
It's
I got this far.
life's a journey. and so it can be a wild journey.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Well, your story is super inspiring, and everything you said, super inspiring. All the things you've been through, and how you continue to strive to be better. It's really inspiring, and I just want to say thank you so much for coming on and sharing. And I'm really glad to see that you're doing better.
Yeah.
And continue to be better.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm not the best at. Maybe I should have written things down, the points I wanted to stick to, but you know, it is how it is, and
Yeah.
people can. And then, like I said earlier, like you can like put like in the description like what times I talked about what certain things, but like it'll be challenging because like I talked about them like 3 different times though, so like it wasn't like a chronological order story that I planned on following.
Right.
And but yeah, I know I've tried to watch a few of your interviews and I wouldn't have the attention span to watch the whole thing, so so it's, if you just put like what time I talked about certain things, and I don't know, just a suggestion for future interviews. And
Yeah. No, thanks a lot. I appreciate that, and definitely we'll do that. And I think you know, your story. Yeah, this is a really amazing story. People will listen. I just want to say thank you.